One time I tell them I'm California dreaming, dreaming. One time I tell them I'm California dreaming.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Naya, and I'm back with another video. I'm finally back from basic. Yes, I did graduate, but I have sad news. I actually got an honorable discharge because I have a disqualifying condition, and I tried to get away but try to stay in, but it ended up not working and they discharged me. But anyway, other than that, I wanted to tell you about my BMT experience because in my last video for what I packed for BMT, I told you I'd be back to tell you how basic was. Okay, so you won't think that I was just playing. I did graduate. This is my airman's coin that I had received. Thing I'm most proud about. I worked so hard for 8.5 weeks. And as you know, they changed BMT from 7 weeks to 8.5 weeks. From 7.5 weeks to 8.5 weeks. They added beast because beast is a requirement now, which beast was a time. I'm going to tell you that now. But I tried to write down what we did every day when I was at basic from day one all the way. I didn't go all the way to graduation when I graduated, but I went all the way till we went to Seaburn, which is when we did the gas chamber. Because I just stopped writing because every day was basically the same. We did the same thing every day. Woke up, details, which was when we cleaned up the whole dorm, and went to child class, PT in the afternoon, because I, with the winter schedule, you PT in the afternoon. And so that's how every day was basically the same. But some key points that when I came back home, a lot of friends asked me how these questions, because they was thinking about going to the military as well, was about what to pack. As you remember in my previous video, I packed a little small book bag, just a few clothes, which is perfect. Because you don't need to bring all that stuff, because when you first get there, they have you in this big room with a bunch of people, and you have to carry your stuff all the way to your dorms, and you don't want to be yelled at, because a girl in my flight got yelled at for having a suitcase and rolling it, and she had to pick it up. So that book bag is fine, but if you're worried about when you go to tech school and you need a bigger luggage, on graduation weekend, you can have your family come down and just bring you a bigger suitcase, and that's what I recommend. And also about my hair, a lot of my friends ask me what to do with their hair. As you remember, I had scalp braids going into a bun, which was perfect. It lasted the whole 8 weeks, which I made it. And to graduation, I wanted to look decent because the braids started looking rough. I wanted to look decent. And I took my braids out and had one of my flight members do it in 2 cornrows. It's going to be somebody in your flight. Everybody that I talked to in basic seemed like it was always a girl in their flight that knew how to braid. So if you're worried about somebody not knowing how to braid or worried about your hair, somebody can braid your hair. But I recommend getting your hair scalp braided into a bun. Now, other people I saw at basic, they had sew-ins and box braids, but your bun had to be a certain way and stuff, and you don't have that much time in the morning to be trying to make sure it's perfect. So I recommend scalp braiding it into a bun. But other things I want to talk about, like my family asked me about the gas chamber, which I had heard horror stories. My uncle was in the army and he told me I was gonna, just like die. But the gas chamber was a piece of cake. I just came out of there, throat a little dry, hurting a little bit, and snot running down my nose because I was sick and I was stopped up. Not after the gas chamber. It was just, I was walking out just like this, a lot of snot coming out my nose. I know that's disgusting, but yeah. And Beast was so rough. I said I would never do it again if I had to, which Beast is like a pre-deployment stimulation, like it's trying to prepare you for war or something, like what happens, because we did combatives one day. We shot our guns or whatever on the last day we was there. But we slept in these little tents A girl found a scorpion in her shoe, so you have to watch out for scorpions. Make sure you know, with your shoe. And we had to be in mop gear for not hours, I would say, but about an hour or a couple of minutes. So be ready for that. I know I'm probably all over the place, but I can't really think. Sorry. But key things I would suggest is make the best of it. And if you're worried about PT, like I told this girl, she was asking me how about PT. If you feel like you can't do anything, when I first went in, I could do one push-up, and I struggled doing that one. I came out of basic doing 26 push-ups, 53 sit-ups, and my run time was 13:41, and my waist circumference was 31 inches, because the PT score is a composites into the PT score goes to 100, and I made a 91 on my PT test. So my first PT test we took, I ran in 17 minutes and 50 some seconds. I did 12 push-ups and like 30 sit-ups. You can do it. So just believe me. Sorry my aunt came home, but you have to be careful at basic because the food is actually really good, and you can get double of anything you want. So some people at basic did gain weight, while others lost like 20 pounds. So make sure you watch what you eat and stuff, so you won't go past like the ab circumference limit, or your weight limit, because they do weigh you at basic. And like details to sign up for that was good was peer-to-peer and chapel guide. I wouldn't recommend volunteer to be a child runner because they get yelled at the most. I actually end up being a child runner, but I wouldn't sign up, when you first get there. Also, if you think about being honor grad, actually volunteer for a lot of things, like being a student leader, which is like the element leaders or the dorm chief can get you some points. Peer-to-peer can get you points. Chapel guide can get you points. So I do recommend volunteering to be a leader or something, but be careful about those. Also, don't get too comfortable when you first get, like, at the bed you pick when you first get there, because you might change beds. We end up actually changing beds, and I was really sad because I had just bonded with the girls I was sleeping by, and we had became best friends. So I was really sad about that. And also, basic was just a great time for me. I went at a good time. It was with the holidays. We had Christmas and New Year's. Then I stayed in Disneyland, the Best Squadron, the 320th Roll Gator Roll. And actually, those are the better dorms. If you go to Alcatraz, I feel sorry for you. I hate that you went through that, but because I actually stayed in Alcatraz, the older dorms, when I was in Med-Hold, and I wouldn't have made it if I was in regular BMT in Med-Hold in Alcatraz or something, because that was terrible. Also, try to stay out of, Med-Hold as a trainee, because it could set you back from graduating a few weeks or anything. And try to stay out of trouble while you're at basic too, because you can get recycled for any little thing. Girls in my flight, it was 3 girls that got recycled in my flight. One, for when we had base live, they had invited their husbands to see them on the base. And then another girl got in trouble for bullying people. So just be careful at basic. Try to stay under the radar, but still try to shine. And really pay attention to your MTIs and listen to them. And I really can't think of much. Graduation, you don't have your phones. I thought you did because I went to an Army graduation and she had her phone the whole graduation. But at Air Force BMT graduation, you don't have your phones. And I think that's all I can think of. Please comment any questions you would want me to answer about basic or anything, what to pack. And that's all I got for you. See you in the next one.